You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about Brandon Staley and the L.A. Chargers and Bill Belichick because, well, it seems that the Chargers have all of a sudden emerged as the favorites to get Bill Belichick. And Dan Orlovsky, Diana Rossini have come out and made some comments, but there's been another report from another NFL insider by the name of Gary Myers who draws that line directly to the Chargers. And what I would love to know is, you know, Brandon Staley's one of these highly analytical guys, and don't get me wrong, I think there's a place for analytics in sports, especially when it comes to things like speed, quickness, that kind of thing, especially in draft evaluation, something that evidently Bill Belichick's not very high on, I guess, which is one reason they got the worst separation rate of all wide receivers in the NFL. But evidently Bill Belichick may be eyeing the Chargers because, well, we all know that team is ridiculously stacked. And once again, Brandon Staley is underachieving. I'd love for somebody to go up and look at the analytics of what if Brandon Staley actually just took the points? Like just kicked field goals instead of going for it on 4th and 1 and 4th and 2 all the time. Because that's what he does. And I wonder, since he has been coach, how many games would have actually flipped back in the Chargers' direction had he decided to not go for it? I would love to know that. I mean, but this team is stacked. I mean, before we even get into that, I mean, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, Gerald Everett, got a really good backup tight end, Donald Parham Jr. He's pretty damn good. And, of course, Mike Williams is on IR. But you get to what would be Belichick's side of the ball, and it is a murderer's row out there. I mean, just Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Derwin James Jr., Asante Samuel Jr. Ooh, I wonder, Asante Samuel Sr. might not be too happy with Bill Belichick showing up because we know the feud there between Samuel Sr. and Bill Belichick over his time with the Patriots. He does not like Bill Belichick at all. So, Bill Belichick and the Patriots are on the verge of a breakup. We know that. Diana Rossini said the following earlier in the week, something we talked about. But if people I had talked to had to bet their money is on a mutual parting of the ways at the end of the season. Okay, I read that earlier this week, this whole thing. You can go look it up. But Orlovsky come out and said this.
Now, Diana Rossini reported this weekend that people around the building are assuming or preparing for a mutual parting of ways between Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. He will go coach somewhere else if that is the case. Will he be the GM as well? We assume, but who knows? Mm-hmm. That would be bananas. Yeah. That would be a colossal move in the NFL news cycle.
I've heard that. I've heard more and more of that over the past week. I'm not a reporter, all that stuff, but I have heard that.
You're a journalist.
I have heard that that's going to be the case, and it's kind of who knows the likelihood of it, but I've heard that that's going to happen, and I've heard the location is already kind of determined as well.
Okay, so he just come out and said he's already heard that it's going to be a mutual parting and that the location is already determined. Now, a lot of people just automatically assume because of some of the connections between Belichick and the Washington Commanders that Washington was going to be the gig. But even though Washington does have some weapons on the offensive side of the ball, a lot of people feel like the Chargers should have been in direct Super Bowl contention for the last 3 years, and they have not been. They've obviously greatly underachieved. Every year, somebody goes out there and picks the Chargers to make the Super Bowl, and until they get rid of this coach, I don't think they'll ever sniff it. But they got way too much talent on both sides of the ball. It's one of the best rosters in football. But until they get somebody that can actually lead the charge and is a leader of men, it's going to be a problem. NFL insider Gary Myers reports that sources are telling him that the LA Chargers are the favorites to get Belichick in the offseason. And he just comes right out and said, one of my well-placed sources believe the Chargers are the favorites for Bill Belichick in 2024. Excellent quarterback, team ready to win. Belichick likes California and the beach. He talks about the fact that a return to the Giants is not happening. He's not going to the Giants. That would provide that they would have to give up on Brian Daboll, who honestly, I think if Brian Daboll gets fired today, he gets another coaching job tomorrow, okay? Which might not be a great idea, but I think a lot of people just see all of the injuries as a whole that's happened to Brian Daboll. Now, one could say Joe Shine should have went out and got him a different quarterback at the beginning of the year as a better backup plan than a Tommy DeVito, but that's neither here nor there. You get the point, right? The Jets are too far away from winning right now. Not only does Belichick need 18 more victories to pass Don Shula as the all-time winningest coach, but I imagine winning a Super Bowl without Tom Brady after Brady won one without him is very, very high on his to-do list. So it goes on to talk about we'll have to wait and see what happens. But, yeah, I think that's something we've talked about for a while. Now, Florio come out and said this, and we're not really going to read his article. You can go read it. But if Belichick trade happens later, it's likely will be set up sooner. Now, keep in mind, they got to go through the Rooney Rule procedures, which is ridiculous. An owner should be able to hire whoever in the hell they want to hire. It's their money, right? It's their team. But nonetheless, you got to go through that farce known as the Rooney Rule. But likely, as early as right now, Belichick already knows, hey, if I want to go to the Commanders, I want to go to the Chargers. He already knows he's going there. Okay? As of this moment, he already knows where he's going next year. So just to look at this year, because I think what it would take to save Staley, to be honest with you, right now the Chargers are sitting in 12th position outside of the play. I mean, they're way out of the playoffs right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places back. They do own the tiebreaker over the Jets because they just beat them. This is their schedule. And you know, should they beat the Packers? Yeah, based on talent, yes. Should they compete with the Ravens? Absolutely. Based on talent, yes. Should they roll the Patriots? Absolutely. Should they beat the Broncos? Probably. You know, Raiders? Probably. Bills? The way the Bills look right now? Probably. I mean, in theory, the Chargers have the roster and the talent to win out, to literally win the rest of these games and roll. But the problem is there are certain games they'll just underachieve in. They could very well step out there and easily lose to the Ravens. That's a loss. Could mess around and lose either one of these games to the Broncos. Could lose to the Raiders. Could definitely lose to the Bills and the Chargers. And you mess around and they've only won 3 more games. And they end up 7-10. And then surely the Spanoses, the problem with the Spanoses is they're notoriously cheap and they don't want to pay for a coach. That's why Sean Payton is not already the coach. That's where he wanted to go. And some could say this may be a spot for people to watch for Jim Harbaugh. But you have to wonder if Belichick wants to go there. Has that already been decided? Is he going to be coaching the Chargers next year? That insider is saying the Chargers are a favorite. Florio is saying that if this happens, it's going to be determined very early on. Like, I've heard people say, you heard Orlowski say it, the mutual parting of the ways. You've got multiple people saying that there's going to be a mutual parting of the ways. Even Tommy Kernan believes that. So it looks like Belichick's out in New England. That's the one thing that looks like is happening. But it's likely he already knows where he's going. And the team that wants him already knows they can get him and what it's going to take and all of this kind of thing. Okay, we know he's already under a contract. Now, there was a splash report the other day from, I think, Ian Rappaport that came out and said the one thing that would absolutely have to happen is if another team wants him, they're going to have to trade for him. Now, one could argue this Chargers team is stacked enough. You don't need a quarterback. You know, you got playmakers on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. So one could argue they could probably stand to trade a high-profile pick over to the Patriots, which they're going to need it for a rebuild. And then who knows if the Patriots are at pick 5, maybe they could take the Chargers pick and take their pick and put it together and move up to pick 3 or 2 to ensure that they get one of the top 3 quarterbacks. Because I think there's an outside chance you're going to see Caleb Williams or Drake May, pick your flavor, go back-to-back, and I think there's a chance the third pick is going to be Michael Penix Jr. or Marvin Harrison Jr., either way. I mean, I know if I'm the Patriots and I'm going to keep Mac Jones, I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. no matter what. I'm getting that high-profile, one of the best wide receivers that's come out in a very long time. That would be my pick if I'm not taking a quarterback. They should probably take a quarterback, though, Tell me what you think. Do you believe Bill Belichick is gone? That it's already been determined that he's out, like Dan Orlovsky, like Rossini is basically saying, like so many of these others are basically saying. I think it's odd because I know Colin Cowherd and Tom Telesco, the Chargers GM, I know they're tight. And I haven't heard anything from Cowherd about this. That would be very interesting. Cowherd talked a lot about the Sean Payton and the Broncos last year. Of course, Payton was working with Fox, but he talked a lot about it and what would happen with, Russell Wilson and this, that, and the other. And we know that actually happened. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if Cowherd says anything over the next couple of months, because he would be a guy that, like I said, I know has direct ties straight to the general manager there. I mean, I think they actually hang out and eat dinner and all that sort of thing like he did with Sean Payton. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.